War Prime Zeth Korthak stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched the human system grow larger on the display. The new Texas system looked exactly like intelligence had predicted. One habitable planet, 2 small moons, and an asteroid belt that posed no threat. "Scan results, Subprime," Korthak asked his second-in-command. "The planet shows minimal energy signatures," Subprime Yeth reported. "No orbital defenses detected, no significant military presence. The humans appear to have abandoned most surface installations." Korthak's 4 eyes studied the data. This was disappointing. He had hoped the humans would provide at least some resistance. The collective needed a good victory to demonstrate their power to other species. "What about their fleet?" Korthak asked. 31. "Small vessels holding position near the 4th planet," Yeth said. "Primitive chemical rockets and kinetic weapons. They will pose no significant challenge to our bioships." The Zephyrian advance force consisted of 50 bioships, each one a living creature bred for war. The smallest was twice the size of a human dreadnought. The largest could crack moons with their energy weapons. Admiral Morrison watched the enemy fleet approach from the bridge of the USS Defiance. The Zephyrian bioships were terrifying. They moved like living things, pulsing and flowing through space. Their energy signatures were off the charts. "Captain Rodriguez, are your fighters ready?" Morrison asked. Rodriguez checked her instruments. She was piloting the lead Widow-class fighter. 29 more Widows were spread throughout the human fleet. "All fighters report ready, Admiral. Quantum bombs are armed." Engineer Clark had worked miracles in 6 days. Each Widow fighter carried 1 quantum entanglement bomb and enough fuel for a one-way trip. The pilots knew they would not be coming home. "Lieutenant Brooks, what is the enemy communications status?" Morrison asked. Brooks monitored the Zephyrian fleet from his station. "They are using standard tactical frequencies, no encryption. They do not expect any resistance." Dr. Foster's voice came through the communication system from her lab ship. "Admiral, the biological weapons are loaded and ready. Target the largest bioships first. The viruses need time to spread through their nervous systems." Ben Carter's underground command center on New Texas received the final transmission from the fleet. "Colonel Carter, are your people ready?" Carter looked around his bunker. 50 farmers and their families waited at combat stations. Above them, the surface looked empty and peaceful. Below them, 20,000 humans prepared for war. "We are ready, Admiral," Carter said. "Come what may." The battle began when Korthak ordered his fleet to occupy the planet. The bioships moved in formation toward New Texas, expecting to land their warrior castes and accept surrender from the local government. Instead, hell erupted around them. The empty asteroid belt exploded into action. Hundreds of hidden weapon platforms revealed themselves. Railguns and missile launchers that had been disguised as space rocks opened fire. The asteroids themselves began moving, powered by hidden engines. "Subprime, report!" Korthak shouted as his flagship shook under impact. "The asteroids are weapons platforms," Yeth replied. "Human miners have turned the entire belt into a defensive network." The bioships returned fire with their energy weapons. Asteroids exploded into vapor and metal fragments. But for every platform destroyed, 2 more revealed themselves. The humans had been busy during their 6 days of preparation. Captain Rodriguez led her squadron of Widow fighters in the first attack run. The small ships moved unlike anything the Zephyrians had ever seen. They accelerated and turned in impossible patterns, ignoring the stress that would kill normal pilots. "All Widows, this is Widow 1, Rodriguez transmitted. "Remember, we are not trying to win a dogfight. We are delivery systems. Get those bombs to target and detonate." The Widow fighters screamed through the Zephyrian formation. Bioship defensive weapons tried to track them, but the human ships moved too fast and too unpredictably. 3 Widows were destroyed in the first pass, but 6 quantum bombs reached their targets. The explosions were unlike anything in the Zephyrian experience. The quantum bombs did not create fire or shrapnel. They simply made matter stop existing. Holes appeared in the bioship's hulls, perfectly round voids that went all the way through. "What kind of weapons are those?" Korthak demanded. "Unknown technology," Yeth replied. "Our bioships are regenerating around the wounds, but the damage is severe." Morrison watched the battle from his command chair. The human fleet was outnumbered and outgunned, but they were not fighting like a conventional navy. Every human ship seemed willing to ram enemy vessels if necessary. "Admiral, 3 bioships are moving toward the planet's surface," Rodriguez reported. "They are trying to land their ground forces." "Let them," Morrison said. "Colonel Carter is waiting." The Zephyrian warrior castes dropped from orbit in armored pods. They were 8 feet tall, with 4 arms and weapons grafted directly onto their bodies. Each warrior was a genetically modified killing machine bred for conquest. They landed in the middle of what looked like an abandoned farm. Green fields stretched in all directions. A few buildings stood empty in the distance. It seemed like the humans had simply run away. The warriors spread out to secure the landing zone. Their enhanced senses detected no immediate threats. Their tactical systems showed no enemy weapons in the area. That was when the ground exploded. Carter had turned every field on New Texas into a minefield. But these were not ordinary explosives. Dr. Foster had designed chemical weapons specifically for Zephyrian biology. The bombs released compounds that attacked their genetic modifications. First wave of warriors began convulsing as their enhanced systems shut down. Their 4 arms became weak and clumsy. Their grafted weapons stopped working. Their tactical computers went offline. "What is happening to us?" one warrior screamed into his communicator. Before anyone could answer, the human militia opened fire from hidden positions. Carter's farmers had been digging tunnels and bunkers for 6 days. Every building, every tree, every rock formation hid armed humans. The Zephyrian warriors tried to fight back, but their weapons and enhancements were failing. Worse, the humans fought like nothing in their database. They used tactics that violated every convention of civilized warfare: chemical weapons, biological agents, traps and ambushes, attacks on supply lines. Worst of all, the humans seemed to learn from every engagement. Each failed Zephyrian assault made the human defenses stronger. In space, the battle continued to rage. Morrison's fleet had lost 8 ships, but they had destroyed 12 bioships using ramming attacks and quantum bombs. The remaining Widow fighters were making their final runs. Rodriguez aimed her fighter at the largest bioship in the enemy formation. Her quantum bomb was armed and ready. She knew she would not survive the attack, but she also knew it would hurt the enemy. "Admiral, this is Widow 1, she transmitted. "It has been an honor serving with you." "The honor was mine, Captain," Morrison replied. "Give them hell." Rodriguez's fighter slammed into the bioship's command center at maximum velocity. The quantum bomb detonated on impact, creating a void that reached deep into the vessel's core. The massive ship began to die, its biological systems shutting down one by one. Korthak watched in horror as his flagship sister ship collapsed. The humans were not fighting like any species in his experience. They seemed to prefer death to defeat. Their weapons violated the laws of civilized warfare. Their tactics were brutal and effective. "Subprime, what is our status?" Korthak asked. "We have lost 18 bioships," Yeth reported. "Ground forces report 90% casualties. The humans are using weapons that target our genetic modifications." "That is impossible," Korthak said. "They cannot have developed such weapons in only 6 days." Dr. Foster's voice cut through the Zephyrian communications. Brooks had hacked their frequencies and was broadcasting on all channels. "War Prime Korthak, this is Dr. Amanda Foster of Earth," Foster said. "You asked what humans do when cornered. We study our enemies. We find their weaknesses. We build weapons that turn their strengths against them. Your genetic modifications are not enhancements. They are vulnerabilities. The transmission ended, but the damage was done. Every Zephyrian warrior heard the message. For the first time in their military history, they began to understand fear. On the planet's surface, Ben Carter led his militia in a counterattack against the surviving Zephyrian forces. The aliens were reverting to their base genetics, becoming confused farmers instead of enhanced warriors. "Do not kill them all," Carter ordered his people. "Leave a few alive to carry word back to their fleet. Let them tell their war prime what human war looks like." The Battle of New Texas ended 12 hours after it began. The Zephyrian advance force limped away with 32 bioships and fewer than 1,000 surviving warriors. They had expected easy victory. Instead, they had received an education in human warfare. Morrison surveyed the aftermath from his damaged bridge. Casualties: 11 ships lost, Rodriguez's replacement reported. 2,000 human casualties, but we held the system. And the enemy? 18 bioships destroyed, estimated 40,000 enemy casualties. More importantly, we have proven that they can be beaten. Morrison nodded. This was only the beginning. The Zephyrian Grand. The tables had turned completely. The hunters had become the hunted, and the first human ships to enter the heart of Galactic Council space were met not with weapons, but with white flags and surrender signals. Council worlds that had never known. The fear of invasion suddenly found themselves facing an enemy that had learned their technology, made it better, and was now using it against them. Admiral Morrison stood on the bridge of the UNS Retribution as it came out of hyperspace in the Council's main star system. Around him, a fleet of ships that showed the very best of human engineering and captured alien technology spread out in attack formation. Each ship was a mixture of human creativity and alien science, and together they represented something the galaxy had never seen before. "Open a communication channel to the Council homeworld," Morrison ordered. The response came so quickly that it was clear the aliens had been waiting for this moment with dread. "Human fleet, this is Supreme Chancellor Vex Cthulhu." The translated voice tried to sound official, but everyone could hear the fear underneath. "We wish to discuss terms for peace." "You can surrender," Morrison interrupted. His voice was as cold and hard as steel. "Completely. No conditions. You will remove all Council forces from human space immediately. You will give us complete access to your technology databases, and you will formally recognize Earth as a sovereign power with full rights in galactic affairs." "And if we refuse?" Vex Cthulhu asked, though his voice suggested he already knew the answer. Morrison gestured to his weapons officer, who fired a brief energy pulse toward a nearby moon that had no life on it. The pulse, powered by human-improved fusion reactors and focused through alien crystal matrices, carved a canyon 100 miles long and 20 miles deep in the moon's surface in less than 5 seconds. "That was set to 1% power," Morrison said calmly. "I have 50 ships with me, and there are 2 more fleets approaching your other major systems. We learned very quickly that you only respect strength. Consider this a demonstration of what we can do." Across the galaxy, the message was spreading faster than light through the Council's own communication networks. Humanity had not just survived the invasion. They had turned it around and were now dictating terms to the most powerful alliance in the galaxy. On Earth, Dr. Amy Stone worked in her new laboratory alongside former alien prisoners who had asked for asylum rather than face return to Council space. The Lumicite scientist Pral N had become particularly helpful in explaining the politics of the galaxy to humans who were still learning how big the universe really was. "Your species has accomplished something that has never happened in recorded galactic history," Pral N explained. His clear glowing body flickered with what humans had learned was excitement rather than nervousness. "The Council has ruled through technological superiority for over 50,000 years. No species classified as primitive has ever successfully challenged them, much less defeated them in open warfare." "Maybe that is because you classified them as primitive in the first place," Amy replied with a smile. One thing humans excel at is proving that conventional wisdom is completely wrong. Amy looked around her laboratory, which was now the most advanced research facility in the galaxy. Human scientists worked alongside alien researchers, sharing knowledge and pushing the boundaries of what was possible. In just 3 weeks, they had advanced human technology by thousands of years. Captain Steve Parker walked through the corridors of what used to be the Council's primary research station. The massive space facility was now under human control, and teams of human scientists were working with alien researchers who had chosen cooperation over resistance. The station was huge, with laboratories that could hold entire spaceships and computers that could think faster than millions of human minds working together. But what impressed Steve the most was how quickly humans had learned to use it all. "Give me a status report," he said to Lieutenant Kate Miller, who was coordinating the technology transfer between human and alien teams. "We have gained complete access to their historical databases going back 50,000 years, Kate replied. "The interesting thing is that they have been using essentially the same technology for the last 10,000 years. No major innovations, no real experimentation, just small refinements to existing systems. And now? Now we are showing them what happens when you give humans access to really advanced tools and tell them to make them better." The peace negotiations took 3 days and were conducted aboard a neutral space station that had been hastily converted into a diplomatic facility. The Galactic Council, faced with the reality of human military superiority and technological adaptation, had little choice but to accept Earth's terms. Supreme Chancellor Vex Cthulhu signed the treaty with hands that shook as he worked. The document established Earth as a full member of the Galactic Council with veto power over any military actions. It granted humans access to all Council trade networks and transportation systems. Most importantly, it formally recognized the human principle of defensive escalation, which meant that any attack on human interests would be met with overwhelming force. "You realize," Vex Cthulhu said to Admiral Morrison as the ceremony ended, "that you have fundamentally changed the balance of power in this galaxy." "Good," Morrison replied without hesitation. "Your council had become stagnant and comfortable. Competition will be healthy for everyone. And if other species attempt to challenge this new order?" Morrison's smile was neither warm nor comforting. "Then they will learn the same lesson you did. Humans are very good teachers when it comes to showing people the consequences of their actions." Dr. Amy Stone stood in her new laboratory aboard the joint Human Council Research Station, watching teams of scientists from a dozen different species work together on projects that would have been impossible just months before. The galaxy was changing rapidly, and humanity was leading that change in ways that no one could have predicted. "Any regrets?" asked Dr. Paul Davis, joining her at the observation window. "About defending our home? Never," Stone replied firmly. "About showing the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated? Also, never. And about becoming a galactic power?" Stone considered the question carefully. Below them, human children born on alien worlds played alongside young members of species humanity had never even known existed just weeks ago. The future was uncertain, but it was a future where humanity would have a voice in shaping it. "We never wanted to conquer anyone," she said finally. "We just wanted to be left alone to live our lives in peace. But since they would not let us have peace, we will settle for respect. The galaxy would never be the same." Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and they had done so on their own terms, with their own technology, and with a clear message that they were not to be trifled with. In the months that followed, human colonies began appearing throughout Council space. Human technology revolutionized galactic communication, transportation, and manufacturing. Human diplomatic principles, backed by human military capability, established a new era of galactic politics based on mutual respect rather than technological dominance. The Galactic Council had wanted to add Earth to their empire as just another, conquered world. Instead, they discovered that Earth intended to help reshape the galaxy into something better for everyone, whether the existing powers liked it or not. As Admiral Morrison often reminded visiting dignitaries from across the galaxy, when they came to pay their respects to the new power, "We did not start this war, but we certainly finished it, and we did it our way." Human embassies opened on 1,000 worlds. Human ships patrolled trade routes that had been controlled by the Council for millennia. Human scientists shared their rapid innovation methods with alien researchers who had forgotten how to truly experiment and discover, but perhaps most importantly, human values began to spread throughout the galaxy. The idea that all intelligent species deserved respect and self-determination. The belief that technology should serve people, not the other way around. The principle that might should be used to protect the weak, not exploit them. The age of human influence in galactic affairs had begun. The Council had come to Earth expecting to find primitive creatures they could easily subjugate. Instead, they found a species that would teach the galaxy what it meant to never give up, never stop learning, and never accept that something could not be done better. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but it had never seen anything quite like humanity. And as human explorers, scientists, diplomats, and yes, warriors spread out among the stars, they carried with them a simple message that would echo across the cosmos for generations to come. Earth was no longer alone. Earth was no longer weak. And Earth would never again be anyone's victim. The stars themselves would learn to respect the species that had turned an invasion into an opportunity, defeat into victory, and isolation into galactic leadership. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, and the universe would never be the same. The massive chamber on Nexus Prime buzzed with panic. Representatives from dozens of alien species filled the curved seats that rose toward the domed ceiling. Their voices mixed into a chaotic noise that echoed off the polished walls. Ambassador HFY stood at the center podium. His blue skin gleamed under the bright lights as he gestured with 4 arms toward the holographic display floating above him. The image showed star systems disappearing one by one, marked with red crosses as they fell. "The Void Swarm has consumed 12 systems in the past month," HFY announced. His voice carried clearly through the translation devices. "Our fleets cannot stop them. They adapt to every weapon we use." The Aquan delegate gurgled inside, her water-filled suit. "My people have lost 3 colonies. The machines strip everything down to bare rock." A representative from the Granite Collective spoke in his slow, grinding voice. "Our defensive platforms held for 6 hours. The swarm learned our tactics and broke through." Elder Counselor Vexith raised one of his many tentacles for silence. The ancient being had lived through 3 galactic wars. His species was among the oldest in the Council. When he spoke, others listened. "We have tried everything," Vexith said. "Our best admirals have failed. Our most advanced weapons prove useless after the first battle. The swarm studies us and becomes stronger." The chamber fell quiet. Everyone knew what came next. The topic they had avoided for 50 years. "There is one option we have not considered," Vexth continued. "One species we have not asked for help." A Draxian warrior slammed his fist on his desk. "You cannot mean the humans." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some aliens shifted nervously in their seats. Others made gestures of disgust or fear. "The humans were banned from this council for good reason," the Draxian continued. "They fight without honor. They use tactics that civilized beings reject." Vexith's large eyes focused on the warrior. "And those tactics won them every conflict. They entered." The reminder silenced the chamber. Everyone remembered the Centauri War. Human forces had ended a 3-year stalemate in 6 months. They had used methods that made even their allies uncomfortable. Fake surrenders, attacks on civilian, Targets, biological weapons that violated every treaty. "They are too dangerous," whispered an Etherian delegate. "They think differently than us. They see war as a problem to solve, not a test of strength or honor." "Which is exactly why we need them now," HFY replied. "The swarm does not fight with honor either. It simply consumes." The debate continued for hours. Representatives argued about human nature, about the risks of involving them, about alternatives that might still work. But the red crosses on the display kept growing. More systems fell while they talked. Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair aboard the UES Defiance. The Earthship patrolled the edge of the Sol system, watching for threats that never came. Humanity had been alone for decades since the Council's rejection. "Sir, we're receiving a priority transmission," reported Communications Officer Beth Rodriguez. "It's encoded with old Council protocols." Morrison's weathered face showed surprise. "Put it through." The message appeared on his screen. It was brief and formal, but Morrison could read the desperation between the lines. The Galactic Council was asking for help. "Lisa, get me a channel to Earth Command," Morrison ordered his second-in-command. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Parker had served with him for 10 years. She knew that tone in his voice. "Sir, are you thinking what I think you're thinking?" Parker asked. "They ignored us for 50 years, called us barbarians, banned us from their precious council." Morrison stood and walked to the main display. "Now they come crawling back because they can't handle their own problems." Dr. Ryan Hayes looked up from his science station. "The data they sent is terrible, Captain. The Void Swarm has wiped out civilizations that are thousands of years old. If it keeps spreading, it'll reach Earth eventually," Morrison finished. "Yeah, I know. The transmission to Earth took several hours. When Admiral Helen Torres appeared, on the screen her expression was grim. Behind her, Morrison could see the busy Operations Center of Defense Command. "I've read their message," Torres said without greeting. "The Council wants our help with their machine problem." "What are your orders, Admiral?" Torres was quiet for a long moment. "Bring the fleet to Earth. We need to discuss this properly." 2 days later, Morrison stood in the briefing room at Defense Command. Charts and tactical displays covered the walls. Admiral Torres sat at the head of the table with her senior staff. The debate had been going on for hours. "We should let them burn," growled General Frank Davis. "They threw us out like garbage, called our methods wrong and evil. Now they want us to save them?" "The swarm won't stop at Council space," argued Dr. Sam Chen. "If it wins, it'll eventually reach us. Better to fight it there than here." Commander Alex Stone studied the enemy. Reports. "This isn't like anything we've faced before. It learns and adapts in real time. Traditional tactics fail because it expects them." "Which is exactly why they need us," Morrison said. "We don't fight traditional wars." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what he meant. Human warfare was different. While other species fought with honor codes and ancient traditions, humans adapted to win. They used deception, targeted weaknesses, and struck without warning. They fought dirty. "If we do this, we do it our way," Torres declared. "No council, oversight. No alien commanders telling us what we can and cannot do. They want our help. They get it on our terms. The vote was close, but the decision was made. Humanity would answer the call." 3 days later, the human fleet gathered in Earth orbit. 30 ships prepared for the journey to Council space. Each vessel carried experimental weapons and technologies that the aliens had never seen. The crews knew they were heading into the unknown. Admiral Torres addressed the fleet from her flagship. "We're not going to save the galaxy out of kindness. We're going because those machines will eventually threaten Earth. But while we're there, we'll remind everyone why they were afraid of us in the first place." The fleet jumped to hyperspace, leaving Earth behind. They carried with them the hopes of their species and the fears of an entire galaxy. In the depths of space, the Void Swarm continued its advance. Machine intelligences calculated and planned, while consuming entire worlds. They had faced every known form of resistance, and adapted to it all. But they had never faced humans. The galaxy was about to learn why the Council had banned humanity from war, and why that might have been a mistake. The first attack came 8 months after the humans left. Prime Minister Chen Wei was eating breakfast when his security chief burst into the room. "Sir, we have a problem," the security chief said. "A big problem." Chen Wei looked up from his morning meal. "What kind of problem?" "The Crimson Fleet is back. They just attacked 3 of our outer colonies. Our defense ships couldn't stop them." Chen Wei dropped his spoon. The Crimson Fleet was the most dangerous pirate group in the galaxy. For 20 years, human ships had hunted them and kept them hiding in dark space. Now the humans were gone. "How many ships do they have?" Chen Wei asked. "Our scouts count over 1,000 ships, sir. Maybe more. They came out of the deep dark region with everything they had." Chen Wei felt sick. His trade federation had 50 defense ships. They were good ships, but they were designed to fight other pirates, not an army like the Crimson Fleet. "Contact the Galactic Council," Chen Wei ordered. "Tell them we need military help right now." The call to the council took 3 hours to connect. Chancellor Vex appeared on the screen, looking bored. "Prime Minister Chen Wei," Vex said, "what can the council do for you?" "The Crimson Fleet is attacking our worlds," Chen Wei said quickly. "We need military help. Can you send ships?" Chancellor Vex looked uncomfortable. "The Council does not have military ships ready for immediate deployment. Perhaps you could contact the Zephyrian Grand Fleet." "I already did. They said they are too busy protecting their own worlds." "What about the Crystalline Hegemony? They said their ships are not designed for fighting." "The Korath Empire?" "They said they have their own security problems to worry about." Chancellor Vex was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Perhaps you could try negotiating with the pirates, Chen." Wei stared at the screen. "Negotiate? They just killed 2 million people on Vega 7. They turned 3 colonies into slave camps. You want me to negotiate with them? Violence should always be the last option," Chancellor Vex said. Chen Wei wanted to scream. "Where are the humans? Can we contact Earth and ask for help?" "Humans are no longer involved in galactic affairs," Chancellor Vex said coldly. That was their choice. The call ended. Chen Wei sat alone in his office, staring at reports of burning colonies and captured civilians. The Crimson Fleet was moving fast, taking system after system. His defense ships fought hard, but they were outnumbered 20-1. 3 months. Later, the Crimson Fleet controlled 7 star systems. 3 billion people were now slaves. The Trade Federation's government was hiding on their last protected world. But the pirates were not the only problem. Ambassador Krieg of the Zephyrian Dominion was dealing with his own crisis. The Zilirian Republic and the Altarian Commonwealth had started shooting at each other the day after human peacekeepers left the neutral zone. "How many ships have been destroyed?" Krieg asked his aide. "Both sides have lost over 200 ships each," the aide replied. "The fighting is getting worse every day." "What about civilian casualties?" 3 planets have been bombed. Millions are dead." Krieg rubbed his forehead. For 50 years, humans had kept these 2 races from fighting. Human diplomats had worked out their problems. Human ships had kept them separated when they got angry. Now both sides were destroying each other. "Can we send our own peacekeepers?" Krieg asked. "Our ships are not equipped for that kind of mission, sir, and our captains don't have experience stopping wars." "What about hiring mercenaries?" "We tried. The best mercenary groups are all former human soldiers, and they refuse to work for us." Krieg felt helpless. His people were supposed to be smart and advanced, but they had no idea how to stop a war. The worst news came from the Outer Rim territories. Long-range sensors had detected something that made every government in the galaxy panic. The Devourers were moving. Dr. Helen Price, now back on Earth, was reading the intelligence reports in her office. The Devourers were ancient machines that wanted to destroy all life in the galaxy. For 100 years, human fleets had kept them trapped beyond the galactic edge. "How many Devourer ships are moving?" she asked her assistant. "The scout reports are not clear, but it looks like several thousand. Maybe more." "And the alien defense line?" "What defense line? The monitoring stations went dark 3 weeks ago. Nobody knows what's happening out there." Helen sighed. The humans had spent decades building sensor networks and defense bases to watch for Devourer activity. They had trained alien crews to help monitor the machines. But when the humans left, the whole system fell apart. "Are any alien governments asking for help?" Helen asked. "All of them. Every day. But President Martinez says no contact unless they come through official channels." Helen understood the policy, but it was hard to watch. The galaxy was falling apart, and Earth was just sitting back and watching it happen. The crisis got worse every week. The Crimson Fleet captured more worlds. The war between the Zilirians and Altarians spread to other systems. Smaller conflicts started breaking out everywhere as old enemies realized there were no human peacekeepers to stop them. Trade routes became dangerous as pirates attacked cargo ships. Food and medicine stopped moving between worlds. Refugee ships filled the space lanes as people tried to escape the fighting. Ambassador Kree of the Crystalline Hegemony found herself in an emergency meeting with other alien leaders. They were all scared and desperate. "We have to admit our mistake," Kree said. "We need the humans back." "The humans made their choice," Chancellor Vex replied. "They chose to abandon the galaxy." "No, we abandoned them first," said Prime Minister Chen Wei, who was attending by video link from his last safe world. "We treated them like dangerous animals instead of partners. Now look what's happening." "It cannot be that bad, Chancellor," Vex said. Chen Wei's image on the screen showed burn marks on his face. Behind him, smoke was rising from buildings. "The Crimson Fleet just attacked this world," Chen Wei said. "They will be here in 6 hours. My government is evacuating to ships. Because we have no defenses left. Tell me again how it's not that bad." The room was quiet. Everyone knew Chen Wei was right, but none of them wanted to admit it. "What do you want us to do?" asked Ambassador Kree. "Contact Earth," Chen Wei said. "Apologize. Beg them to come back. Offer them anything they want. The humans will demand." "Too much," Chancellor Vex said. "Whatever they demand will be less than what we're losing now," Chen Wei replied. On the screen behind him, explosions lit up the sky. The Crimson Fleet had arrived early. "I have to go," Chen Wei said. "My ship is leaving now. If anyone wants to save this galaxy, you better call Earth soon, because at this rate there won't be much galaxy left to save." The transmission ended. The alien leaders sat in silence, listening to reports of wars, pirate attacks, and machine monsters moving in the dark. Finally, Ambassador Kree spoke. "Maybe it's time to make that call." The message from the Galactic Council arrived at Earth on a Tuesday morning. President Maria Gonzalez was drinking coffee when her secretary brought her the urgent communication. "Ma'am, this came in on all diplomatic channels at once," the secretary said. "It's from Council President Theorak himself." Maria opened the message and read it carefully. Then she read it again. Then she started laughing. "What's so funny?" asked her security advisor, Alex Turner. "Listen to this," Maria said, and began reading out loud. "The Galactic Council humbly requests Earth's assistance in dealing with certain security issues that have developed in recent months. We acknowledge that previous disagreements may have caused some confusion about Earth's role in galactic affairs." Alex raised his eyebrows. "Confusion? Is that what they're calling it?" Maria kept reading. "We are prepared to discuss new terms for human involvement in galactic security, including increased compensation and reduced oversight of human military operations." "Reduced oversight," Alex repeated. 2 years ago, they wanted to control every bullet we fired. Now they want reduced oversight." The message went on for several pages. It talked about the unfortunate situation with pirates and the regrettable conflicts between various species. It mentioned technical difficulties with the Outer Rim defense systems. It never actually said the words, "We were wrong," or "We need help." "What do you think?" Maria asked. "I think they're scared," Alex said. "The reports from our intelligence networks are pretty bad. The galaxy is falling apart faster than anyone expected." Maria had seen those reports. The Crimson Fleet now controlled 12 star systems and was moving toward more populated areas. The war between the Zilirians and Altarians had spread to involve 6 other species. Most seriously, the Devourer machines had broken through the outer defense line and were heading toward inhabited worlds. "Are they offering enough to make it worth our while?" Maria asked. "Not even close," Alex replied. "They want us to save the galaxy, but they're still trying to dictate terms to us." That afternoon, Maria met with her full cabinet. Defense Secretary William Chen laid out the military situation. "The alien fleets are getting destroyed everywhere they fight," he said. "They have good ships and decent weapons, but they don't know how to use them. They've been depending on us for so long that they never learned to fight real wars." "What about their diplomatic efforts?" asked Foreign Minister Susan Blake. "Total failure. They keep trying to negotiate with pirates and war machines. Yesterday, the Crystalline Hegemony sent a peace delegation to the Crimson Fleet. The pirates captured the entire delegation and sold them as slaves." Maria shook her head. "What about hiring human mercenaries? Have any of our people taken private contracts?" "A few alien governments tried," said General Patricia Evans, the new head of Joint Chiefs. "But our former military people won't work for them. Most of our veterans are pretty angry about how we were treated." Maria was not surprised. She had gotten letters from hundreds of former soldiers and officers. They all said the same thing: let the aliens solve their own problems. "There is one complication," General Evans continued. "Some of the younger officers want to go help anyway. Colonel Jack Riley has gotten dozens of requests from recent Academy graduates who want to volunteer for humanitarian missions." "Absolutely not," Maria said firmly. "We are not sending our people to die for governments that called us dangerous animals. If they want our help, they can ask properly and pay properly." 3 days later, another message arrived from the Council. This one was more desperate. "The security situation has deteriorated significantly," the message read. "The Devourer incursion has reached the Vega sector. 3 worlds have been completely destroyed. We urgently need Earth's assistance in stopping this threat." The message included video footage from the Devourer attacks. The machines had turned entire planets into metal and wire. Billions of people were dead or converted into mechanical slaves. Maria watched the footage with her advisors. Even though she was angry at the aliens, seeing innocent people die was hard. "Ma'am," said Alex Turner, "the intelligence reports say the Devourers are moving faster than expected. If they're not stopped soon, they could overrun half the galaxy." "That's not our problem anymore," Maria replied, but her voice was not as firm as before. "What if the machines reach Earth space?" asked General Evans. "Then we'll stop them at our borders," Maria said. "We still have the best fleet in the galaxy." But privately, Maria was worried. The Devourers were dangerous enough that they might threaten Earth itself if they got strong enough. And the longer the aliens waited to ask for help properly, the stronger the machines would get. The breaking point came when the machines destroyed the Altarian homeworld. 5 billion people died in 6 hours. The planet was stripped down to bare rock and rebuilt as a machine factory. The next morning, Chancellor Vex himself appeared on Earth's communication screens. He looked terrible. His usually perfect appearance was messy, and his voice shook when he spoke. "President Gonzalez," he said, "I am personally requesting Earth's help. The Devourer threat is beyond our ability to handle. We need human military expertise to stop them." Maria looked at the alien who had led the vote to control human forces 2 years ago. "And what are you offering in return, Chancellor?" "Whatever you want," Vex said quickly. "Money, trade agreements, territory, anything. Just please help us. Stop the machines." "What about oversight of human military operations?" "No oversight. Complete independence. You can fight however you think is best." "What about the council vote that restricted our actions?" Vex looked embarrassed. "That vote has been rescinded. Completely. We acknowledge that it was a mistake." Maria was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I'll consider your request. We'll get back to you." She ended the transmission and looked around at her advisors. "Well?" she asked. "The offer is better," said Alex Turner, "but I still don't trust them." "The Devourer threat is real," said General Evans. "If we don't stop them now, we might have to fight them later when they're stronger." "The terms need to be in writing," said Foreign Minister Blake, "and they need to be better than just whatever we want. We need specific guarantees." Tadi nodded. "Draft a response. Tell them we're willing to discuss terms, but only if they agree to our conditions first." "What conditions?" Alex asked. Maria smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Oh, I have a few ideas," she said. "Starting with a formal apology and full compensation for the families of every human who died protecting their ungrateful worlds. The galaxy wanted human help. They were going to get it. But this time, it would be on Earth's terms, not theirs. And if they didn't like those terms, they could try fighting the machines themselves."